The next area of music that we're going to move in is harmony and melody. So harmony is the fundamental element of music that uses chords to create a background and accompaniment to the melody of a song. Melody is a sequence of pitches played one note at a time that is the main tune of the song. Melody and harmony are very closely related. Consider the Mona Lisa. Most people are familiar with this painting. If we were to compare the painting of the Mona Lisa to harmony and melody, then Lisa, or Mona, would be the melody. Like everyone knows, like that's the painting is of this lady, Mona Lisa. That's like the melody. But equally important to the melody is the background, the colors that are used in the painting. And that's sort of what harmony does to melody. It provides that background. It provides that sort of color, the mood of the music. And so when you put melody and harmony together, then you get a full picture, so to speak. So what do we use to make harmony? Well, harmony is made up of chords. And a chord is simply two or more pitches that are played at the same time. And harmony is made up of what we call chord progressions. A chord progressions is a sequence of two or more of these chords that are repeated to harmonize the melody of a song. Another way to visualize this is melody is one note that happens one after another. There's only one note at a time that occurs during the melody. Harmony is when you have two or more notes that happen at the same time. And again, harmony and the melody are going to work together to complement one another. So for this assignment, if you haven't already, hopefully you will open the link to the assignment in Google Classroom. And as always, the first thing you're going to do when you go to a Soundtrap assignment is to put your name and the title of the file. So your last name and your first initial is fine, and ST3. The next thing is, if you want to get your Soundtrap window to look closer to mine, then use your zoom controls in the bottom right corner of the screen. You want to zoom in. You're only going to be working with a 4-bar phrase, so I would always recommend that you can see all 4 bars on the screen, but it also might be helpful if you zoom in so you can see the 16 columns that each bar is broken up into. But use your zoom controls. That's the magnifying glass plus and minus in the corner to adjust your view for the project. Now, you should notice that there are 3 tracks: a melody track, a harmony track, and a bass track. The first thing you want to do is click on the keyboard icon of the harmony track. That's the one in the middle. You also want to make sure that that thin purple line is there on the left end of the track header so that you have that track selected. Once you have the harmony track selected, the next thing you want to do is look down at the bottom and find chords. That's in between instrument and piano roll. And then you're going to click on chords that appears at the bottom of the window. That's going to change your view down here to a series of boxes. So if you begin, you can click on any of these different chord names to hear what the chords sound like. And when I say chord names, I'm talking about these letters. So there's a C chord, a D minor chord, an E minor chord. That's what the little M stands for. An F chord, a G chord, A minor, B diminished, and what we call a C7. So go ahead and just click on any of those boxes and you can hear what each of these chords sounds like. Now I want you to notice on the left side you have what they call sets, and there are 3 different ones. There's a basic, an EDM, and a hip hop. So if you click on a different set, say for example you click on EDM, you'll see that the names of the chords will change, and if you go click on those chords, you'll hear that they're different sounding than the basic chord. So experiment with the EDM set and then also with the hip hop set so you get an idea of how the chords sound different depending on the set that you're using. Finally, I want you to notice along the bottom that it says playing styles, and the default is none, but you can use the scroll bar underneath it, and there are what this does is it actually will play these chords for you in different rhythmic patterns. So as you're experimenting with the chords, with the sets, try these different playing styles so you can hear until you find like a rhythm or a style of playing these chords that you like. So after you spent some time exploring the different chord sounds and rhythm options, you basically have to make 3 decisions before you start with this assignment. First, you want to choose which playing style that you want to use, that you want to hear your chords in. Then you want to pick 4 chords. So in each set, it gives you 8 different chords. Most chord progressions are made up of 4 chords. So from those 8, just choose the 4 that you want to use. Now, once you know which 4 chords you're going to use, the last decision you have to make is what order you put those chords in. Because the sequence, that's where the sequence of the harmonic progression or the chord progression comes in. The order that you play those chords is going to be repeated again and again. So for example, I could use the basic setting, I could use none as far as the playing style goes, but I'm going to decide to use my C chord first, my E minor second, F is going to be 3, and then A minor is going to be 4. So those are the 4 chords I'm going to use, and that's the order that I'm going to put them in. One of the really neat things about this option in Soundtrap is in order to add this to the harmony track, all you have to do is click on the plus button next to the name of each of the chord. So if you click on the plus button, you should see a region appear in the harmony track that has that chord along with whatever playing style or rhythm that you chose to go with it. So once you've put in your 4 chords, the next thing you want to do is you want to place your cursor under the region in bar 1. And remember, the regions are these colored boxes that go on the tracks. So you put your cursor under the region, click with your mouse, then drag straight up and then drag across so that the box that's made is going to touch all 4 of those regions. That's going to select or highlight the 4 regions that you've added to your harmony track. After you've done that, the next thing you want to do is look at the drop-down menus at the top of the Soundtrap window and click on Edit. After you click on Edit, the drop-down menu that appears, you should see an option that says Merge Regions. Click on Merge Regions. After you do that, you should notice that the 4 separate chords that you added are now all together in one single region. Now, for the next part of this assignment, you're going to have to use the Option key on your keyboard. And the Option key is in between the Control and the Command key. For these next steps, you always want to make sure that the first thing you do is press and hold the Option key down. Then you do the click and drag and drop. And then after you drop, release the Option key. If you release the Option key too soon, or if you click on the Option key too late, it's not going to work. So press and hold the Option key before you do anything else. Now, as you're holding the Option key down, you're going to put your cursor in the middle of the region on the harmony track. Click on that region and then drag straight down while you're holding the Option key. You should see a gray shadow appear in the bass track. Do not release the Option key yet. First, drop the region in the bass track. After you've dropped, then you can release the Option key. You should now see that you've copied and pasted your harmony track region into the bass track. From here, the next thing you're going to do is click on the piano roll view in the bottom half of that window, so you can see each of the notes and the rhythms of the chord. Now, in order to create the bass track, what you're going to do is you're going to delete all of the notes except for the lowest note in each chord. And you can do this by either using your cursor, and again, if you notice those 4 buttons on the right, if you click on the arrow on the bottom half in the piano roll, you can click and drag to select a group of notes and then just hit the delete key on your keyboard. Or you can click on the trash can and click on individual notes to delete those. Don't forget about the one, that first chord. But when you're done, you should be left with 4 bass notes at the bottom. Now for the next step, again, you're going to press and hold the Option key on your QWERTY keyboard. Once you press and hold the Option key, again, you're going to go to the harmony track, put your cursor in the middle of the region, click, and this time you're going to drag up so that there's a shadow on the melody track. Again, holding the Option key down, you're going to release the region to paste it in the melody track. After you release the mouse, then release the Option key. Now you should see that you've copied the harmony track into the melody track. Again, we're going to go back to the piano roll so we can see the piano roll version on the melody track. For this one, I want you to go in, I want you to delete those 4 bass notes. Those are the 4 notes at the bottom of each column of the chords. Delete the bass notes before you move on. Now, before we go to the next step, go over to that group of buttons on the right of the piano roll view and click on the trash can icon. This is going to turn your cursor basically into an eraser. So the idea for creating a melody is for each of these chords and the rhythms in each bar, you're going to delete 3 or 4 notes by clicking on it after you click on the trash can icon, which should result in you having basically one note playing at a time. Instead of having notes playing at the same time, which would be harmony, you're going to delete notes so that you only have one note at a time in a sequence, which is going to create melody using the notes of the harmony. Now, once you've deleted the notes from each of the bars, once again, you're going to take your cursor, but this time put your cursor above and to the right of the remaining notes. Then click and drag across to the left and down so that you have all of the notes of the melody selected. Now, for the next step, you're going to go back to your QWERTY keyboard. This time, you're going to hold down the Command key and the Shift key at the same time. Once you have the Command key and the Shift key pressed and held down, with your other hand, click on the up arrow on the right side of your keyboard. What that does is going to take the notes from the melody and it's going to shift it up and make them higher. So these notes are going to be higher than the harmony notes, and the harmony notes are going to be higher than the bass notes. The last step is to go into your loop library and find a drum loop that you like that you can add to your melody, your harmony, and your bass track. Once you find the drum loop and add it, sit back and enjoy the song that you've created. I hope you enjoy this assignment, and I look forward to hearing what you come up with.